ref. That she got the ball. Good morning, Tottenham fans all around the world. Welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Dave. It's a big one today as we travel up to Goodison Park, a place where we haven't won in 6 years, dating all the way back to 2018. I think we've had 5 or 6 draws up there since then. So it's not going to be an easy day, but also many in the media, many fans also predicting it can be a day where Postecoglou can buy himself time or end up in the job centre. So big game for Tottenham Hotspur today. Let's go around the panel, find out how everybody is. Let's welcome in people at home, give you everything you need to know, and then let's crack on. Drew, we'll start with you, my man. First of all, everybody, this guy is absolutely crazy. He loves it. He gets up so early in the middle of the morning. Drew, thanks for your time, my man. How are you keeping?
I used to love it. I don't know. It was something exciting to get up for. Now I feel like I'm waking up just to get angry and miserable. But we keep moving on, doing well. Hope everybody in the chat is doing well. Wherever you are, morning, evening, afternoon. 3 points today. It's got to be 3 points. That's the only thing that I'm thinking, because we have to. What's that thing you have to do? You have to manifest it. That's
Manifest.
the one. Fucking yeah. Let's all be hippies and manifest it. Come on, come on, you Spurs. Let's go.
I absolutely love that. Look, I think we speak for everybody, Drew. You know, everyone wants a win today. We've no win in the Premier League since we beat Southampton that time 5-1. So it's long overdue, and we really could do with it today. If not, you know, serious questions do need to be asked. Down to you, Donovan. How are you keeping?
The fact that you have to say when we beat Southampton that time just goes to show. I mean, I couldn't even tell you when that was. It was fucking weeks ago, wasn't it? So yeah.
Middle of December, Drew. I don't want to hurt your ears any longer. All the way back to the middle of December. Donovan, how are you this morning, my man? Thank you. Another one who likes getting up middle of the night. Appreciate it, lad.
Yeah, no problem, man. Big up the chat, big up everyone on the panel. Dermo, good to see you. Drew, good to see you. Yeah, I don't know necessarily. I don't want to copy Drew there, but I don't necessarily been liking it anymore. It's starting to feel more of a chore, to be honest. But glad to be here. And man, I was saying backstage, I can't believe we're in a relegation fight right now with Everton, bloody Everton Football Club. It's one of those games where, you know, in a normal circumstances, you're going to think 3 points, you know, just to give me 3 points. But no, we have to go out there and actually fight for these points today. So it's going to be a dogfight. Another injury woe continuing, but that's just another life at Tottenham Hotspur. So come on, you Spurs.
Well, David Moyes also took 4 points off Tottenham Hotspur last year as well, so he knows how to set up against us. So I will warn anyone that's expecting this to be an uber positive show. I'm not sure where you're going to tune in around to get one of them, but you know, a lot of the questions based off a lot of the stats, which are facts. You know, it's not going to be the most easiest or the most positive. So
I'll do what I can, man. I'll do what I can to happy clap and Jack.
Look, I know what people, you know, at the end messaging me, you know, putting messages in going, "Oh, this is supposed to be a pump up." No, it's called a build up, a preview, completely different. Anyway, Dermo, down to you, my man. How are you keeping, sir?
Yeah, sorry, I had to run the young lad to the shop, and do you know what shops are like?
The shop run, lad.
I didn't. I was actually, the computer was on and everything. He just came in and just announced it on me.
What did he get? A breakfast roll?
I don't know what he got, to be fair. I just wanted to get back because I hate being late for anything, and I hate being late for you. Look, guys, come on. This is Tottenham. We need to be up for this. It's the Spurs playing. It sounds like we're in a bloody morgue or something. Come on, you lot.
Just because we acknowledge
hang on.
stats around
I got this.
Doesn't mean that we're not up for it. Of course, we're up for it.
Yeah, well, come on, we're up for it. We're unbeaten in the last 11 Premier League away games against Everton, 3 wins and 8 draws. We haven't lost to them in the last 5 Premier League games. You know, we're going up to Everton. All right, we've lost 5 wins. We're unbeaten. We're on. Let me get my teeth in. We're on a 5-game unwinless run since we beat Southampton. I grant you, but we can go up there, we can get 3 points today, and it puts the wheels back on the wagon, and we can sort of get going again. And that's what we call momentum. Get a win today, get a bit of momentum, get a few players back, injuries as well, and we'll carry on. This relegation thing, we're not in a relegation battle. We're just down there because we've been damn awful. Now the season turns around, we start getting wins. We're going to win a cup this year. We're on the move. Tottenham forever. Come on, you Spurs, and sort of Andrew Trust. Not yet, but we're sort of Andrew Trust.
You know, even Dermot had to pivot there. Even he couldn't twist the stats, you know, to be positive today. He had to pivot there to a motivational speech. But nonetheless, I absolutely love it, Dermot. Big yourself up. Let's welcome some people in at home. Let's give them everything they need to know, and then let's get into it. We have ET says happy clappers will be saying Anjin after he's relegated us to the championship. This club is doomed. We have Brett Lockhead, evening boys. To me, Spence, right back, regular left back, Porro, right bench, Kulu, Bissar, and play Bergval, Matters, and Gray in midfield. Davies and Dragosin are centre back, best options. We'll definitely get into the lineup. By the way, just on the predicted lineup, I see a lot of comments going on. Oh, Dave, you know, Solanke's injured. I am well aware he's injured. It came out at 10:30 last night. Or that's when I seen it anyway. And I already had my predicted lineup recorded at 1 or 2 p.m. that day. And I'm sorry, at 10:30 at night, there's no way I'm going to change it. So I just put it out. One thing I will say is I did get it right that Dan Solanke wouldn't be playing. That's for sure. But big up, Brett. We also have Ribsy in the house. Well, here we go again. Well, hopefully here we go again, Rimsey. You know, get 3 points on the board today. We have Jude. Morning, lads. Let's get the win. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you. Samuel Shepherd. Let's go. Big up, Samuel. Nicky Carey says, morning all. Absolute 6 point today. If we lose, we're in a relegation battle. Things need to change quickly. Come on, you Spurs. And you're absolutely spot on. I think we're 6 points or 8 points above it right now. If we lose, it draws everything closer, puts you 5 points. I would argue then you're probably in it or just above it. That's for sure, Nick. We have Niall O'Connor. Good to see you, my man. Morning, boys. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you. We have Coys 87. This will be interesting this afternoon. It certainly will be. Leon, I'm 96. Come on, you Spurs. Morning, lads. Big result needed today. Not feeling confident, especially with no Solanke. Supposedly, well, look, that's why I started, practicing my pigeon dance last night. You got to manifest that the pigeon's going to come back and hit the ground running. We have Thomas, hey, Dave and Jack on all in the chat. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you. DJ AK, big up, lads. Could do with a few more injuries, I reckon. For fuck's sake, we need a win today. Not unless, come on, you Spurs. Big up, DJ. It's honestly, with our injury list, they could probably fly out to a beat with you, lad. And, you could give them a good DJ set. We've got Drew Zill in the house while he's here with us. Big up, Drew. He says, if you don't mind, hoping for 3 points today. We've got Nick Kerry, Decky up front. We've got Lupercal, big up, lads. We're in the mud. I feel for Ange today. He cannot play Sonny through the middle. Is it too early to start drinking? Hello. Or help. Come on, you MFing Spurs. Look, it's 6 p.m. somewhere, right? Lupercal, so, if you just put yourself in a different time zone, then it's okay, I suppose. I don't want to see Sonny through the middle, despite everyone telling me, that's where Son was. I've always said he's not a striker. He's always a winger. I don't want to see it back through the middle. Liston Hines says it's difficult circumstances like these. I usually say play the kids, but we already do. For sure. We got Sean Johnson. No more excuses if we lose today. Big Ange has to go. Simon Coley, good morning to you, sir. We also have Matt and Oz. If Gentle Ben is fit, I'd love to see Gray in midfield with Bergval. According to Postecoglou's press conference, I think he said he's going to keep him across the back line. So I don't even think fans are going to get to have that little bit of joy today, to be fair. Slim Boy, Tubbs, the Oxymoron, big up one and all. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Better get a move on. The chat's moving quick today. We have Scarecrow in the house. Morning, gents. Let's turn this poor run of form around. Let's go, Richie, with a brace. Well, he did score a brace at Goodison Park last year. Kerry King says, morning all. Can't believe we're calling an Everton versus Spurs a must-win game, but needs must at the minute. Seriously, hope we can win convincingly. I know, usually you just look at Everton and you go, oh, that's a handy 3 points, especially at home. Now we're looking at them fearful. It's the state of the times we're in. Two Marks talk. Tottenham, big up to you, Dave, Drew, and Donovan. Big up, my man. Really appreciate the invite to the show, that one of your first shows, and it was really enjoyable. Thank you very much, Mark. People, get over and check out the channel. We have Rekka in the house. Was hoping to watch the game today with some spicy cheese noodles, but got work to do, man. Spicy cheese noodles sounds unreal. Keith Edwards says, this will be the biggest result for us if we can win today. Look, it'll be a huge result if we can get it done today. Hopefully, a bit like that Coventry game, just get the win on your back and hopefully build a little bit of momentum behind it. Phil Coy, 6-pointer against Everton. Reality has well and truly hit. Come on, you Spurs. That it has, Phil. That it has. Patrick McCurry, morning to the 4Ds, nervous. Jeez, do you know what? Fair play to you. I didn't even recognize that. All of our name does start with D. Nervous times these days. Hope the boys are going to step up. versus the Toffees. Look, I've got my Toffees at the ready. Hopefully we can chew them up today, my man. Wembley
There's a
won.
game show in that, Dave. The 4Ds. There's a game show in that. The 4Ds.
It probably is. Just let me get through these comments, Darmo. Wembley one says, morning, boys. Levy will still want the money, so Lancashire will still get loaned out. Team needs a complete irrelevancy to Dr. Evil. Big up, Wembley one. It's tough, that's for sure, my man. Very, very tough. Who else have we got in the house? We've got Daniel in here. I take a point. Interested, let me know in the comments who would take a point already. Wilson94, good morning, panel. Despite our terrible record at Goodison, feel 3 points is a must. No, the board has stated that they are back in Ange. I feel bad results over these next 2 games may seal Ange's fate. 100% couldn't agree with you more, my man. Big up, Joe. Can we have a new rule that we don't train the day before a game? Did you know what the thing is? Literally, half of the squad, those that played in the North London Derby, were only in there doing light work. It was all the others that didn't play in the North London Derby that were actually playing like matches and stuff like that. The rest were only in for recovery. That's the sick thing about it, Joe. Oh, it's mad. It's absolute mad. Big up Tinka as well. Hermison, great to see you. Moss Chops as well, great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Jack Bloom, great to see you as well. DJ Samuel, good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. Then we also have Jerome in the house. Big up, Jerome says, we are up for it, Dermo. But this is, we are up for it, but Dermo, this is getting ridiculous. Those injuries are killing us.
Pardon me. Yeah, look, they are, pardon me. I agree with that. They are getting ridiculous. I can't disagree with that. I've never seen it this bad since 96, 97. Jerry Francis last year as manager at Tottenham, where every game we had an injury. We lost Gary Mabbitt in the first game against Blackburn away with a broken leg. And it just tumbled after that. And we had a woeful season with injuries. So, look, I've seen it before. I've never seen it this bad. I have never seen it this bad. And we're not the only club. And you look at Bournemouth, who went away to Newcastle, won 4-1 at Newcastle. They don't mind about their injuries. They just get on with it. And they're on their unbeaten run at the moment. So it can be done. You just have to adapt. You just have to change how you play. And we're not. And I just feel that's the problem.
If the injuries are down, if the injuries are down to how we play, who says they are?
I'm not saying they're down to how we play.
Then why would you change tactics then if the injuries aren't down to how you play to alleviate them?
You would change how you approach games. You would change how you do things. I mean, you would change things in training a little bit. Probably just little tactics. If people are pulling up the hamstrings all the time, like it happened at Celtic as well, then there's something they're doing that is making them do this. That is happening. Do you know, playing players when they're not fully fit against Chelsea, that puts them out further.
Yeah, that
we need these players. And also, it's a transfer. It's not backing him properly in the summer window with the players that we needed to fulfill these fixtures. We're playing in 4 different competitions. So if you added it all together, you look at Bournemouth. I know they're playing 1 game a week, but they've got the same amount of players out as we have. And they can go up to Newcastle and batter them 4-1.
Yeah, but the biggest thing out there, I keep hearing this, Darmo, just quickly. The biggest, no one's taking into account. We've played double the amount of games Bournemouth have. So even when they have injuries, their players are only playing from weekend to weekend, which means they're fit. Our players are playing every 3 days. Let's have some context around this. Stop throwing out stats.
No, I did say that.
I'm not blaming you, but all I keep getting is these stats that look good. But when you actually delve into them, there's complete different circumstances around it. I hate this narrative that's painted. Oh, well, look how he's dealing with it. If he comes to Tottenham, he'll deal with the same. Okay. And what when he comes to Tottenham and he's got 3 games every single week to deal with, and these players have to be rolled out there for all 3 games? It's a complete different scenario.
It is. Also, that we have owners that don't spend money. Bournemouth do spend money. Do you know what I mean? And we have owners that don't back managers. And that's the problem. We've had the best managers in the world, but they haven't won anything because they weren't backed. They weren't properly backed in the transfer window. And you've got to back managers properly. I'm sorry. It's not like it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago where Liverpool won the league with 14 players in the squad. You can't do that now because the demands on the players are different. The demands on the club is different. So, I get what Jerome's saying. It is, and I get what you're saying too, Dave. It is ridiculous when you do break down to it. It's a ridiculous argument to make, but it was only one I could think of off the top of my head. So I did get what
No,
you're
look,
saying.
it
I
just
did get
it
what you're
just
saying.
drives
You're
me
right in
mad.
what you're saying. It does.
Like you even hear at Brentford, oh, look at Thomas Frank dealing with the injuries. Yeah, okay. They're out of the FA Cup, they're out of the League Cup, and they don't have Europe to play. Complete different scenario, you know what I mean? You know, you put Ange Postecoglou in their situation, put them in our situation, people would probably be saying the same thing. Oh, look at Ange, he's dealing with the situation over there. It's just, for me, complete different situations. I'm no slight against Iriola, by the way. I think he's a fantastic manager. But, you know, it is a complete different situation. I do think that, you know, context around it is absolutely key. But big up, Jerome, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Look, we are all up for it. We're all just deflated by injuries, defeats, stuff like that. But big up, Jerome. Let's do another quick wish through and then let's get the boys involved. We have Big Pants. Great to see you, Nitro. DJ, good to see you. Surf House, great to see you. Kate Rickson, Mungie, Mark New, Paul, Jerome Poweryid, Paratrooper, sorry, True Pack, great to see you, my man. Shane, good to see you. Luke, Sebastian. We also have Mario in the house, good to see you. Dermot's alter ego, that. We've got Nomad, we have Ricardo in the house. We also have Finn, Daniel Loves, Daniel Leave Me, Woodsy in the house. We also have Dan is in the house as well, along with Abdullah, Rooty too. Great to see you. Brecken, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well, lad. We have Keith Edwards, Aussie Spur TV, Joff, Dan Davenport, and Lubed by Levy in the house as well. Good to see you. Hopefully you are all keeping well. Let's give everybody everything they need to know, and then let's crack on. So, of course, we are playing at Goodison Park today. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. Referee is Darren England in the VAR room. It is John Brooks. In the TV, it's on Sky Sports. In America, it's on NBCSN. And in Australia, it's on Optus Sports. Now, Tottenham's injury list ever grown. Vicario, Van de Ven, Romero, Dogie, Bentancur, Udeberg, Werner, Bissouma and Johnson are doubtful today. And now freshly added to it is Dom Solanke with a knee injury, potentially out for up to 6 weeks. Everton are missing Emmanuel Broya, Dwight McNeil, Seamus Coleman. I'm just going to call him Iriol, Garner, and Shermiti as well. So that is the injury news that everybody needs to know today. Let's crack on. Let's get straight into it. Drew, let's bring you in. After the loss to Arsenal, how important is it for Spurs to bounce back with a big win today against Everton? Just even more so for the fans who are hurting.
Do you know what, Dave? The only thing different between now and Arsenal is that the players are just even more tired, and we've got more injuries. So while I agree, yes, we do. I just don't know. I don't know that there's too much to expect, right? Like I'm at the point now where we just got to get as many points on the board as possible, consolidate the league, and try and win a cup. That's my opinion, because I don't know. I mean, I'd love for us to go on a run and start going up the table. I'd love to finish as high as possible, but with injuries being what they are and they keep on reoccurring, like I just feel like we need to. I know maybe this is wishful thinking, but I just feel like we need to try and just be a little bit more solid and maybe not go as gung-ho as you. I don't know. I'm a little bit all over the place, Dave. I woke up so angry yesterday at Tottenham, and I don't. Huh?
Are you getting to the point where Dermo's at, where maybe you think Ange needs to maybe adjust his tactics a little to deal with the injury crisis? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, only in the sense that if you haven't got, in my mind, if you haven't got the players to play the exact system that you want, I think it is on you as a coach to try and figure out another way of getting the result you need without compromising the players and the players' belief in your system. Because right now, when I've watched the replay back of the Arsenal game, I listened to you guys on the watch along, and I was at work and I was getting more and more angry by the minute, because to me that wasn't a North London derby. Like I really didn't, for somebody that likes to commentate on football, you said barely anything in the second half that
I
related
couldn't
to
speak.
us going forward, an attack, a worthwhile piece of play. And I'm just starting to get concerned now. Like, I understand the principle. I understand you want to play this football and you think that there's a way that football should be played. I get that. But if you're running out of bodies to play in the positions that are required for that way of playing to work, then maybe you need to just adjust it slightly. And people will say, oh, he's changing tactics, da da da. Maybe he is. Maybe the players just aren't good enough. Maybe
he has gone long ball a lot more in recent times than usual.
But I think we're realizing that, and maybe this is just me, Solanke's good. Solanke's great at chasing down. He gives absolutely everything. I have nothing bad to say against the guy. He's not great at holding up play and bringing other people into it, is he? Really? He's kind of a bit of a, I don't want to say scapegoat, but I feel like he's, I don't know, when he played up in Celtic, the number 9 was the sacrificial lamb. And I feel like Solanke is very much becoming the sacrificial lamb, but I watch him play, especially the Arsenal game. The ball was just rebounding off of him. Like, where is his first touch gone? Maybe that's down to
fatigue, though, Drew?
I was going to say, if that's down to fatigue, and I could see that being down to fatigue, because I mentioned the other day on a show that, you know, a tired brain means tired reactions, means, you know, not being fully aware of your surroundings, not playing that right pass or playing it too long, too short. So I get it. Everybody's, I mean, it's shame on the club, shame on the board. We've all said it till we're long in the tooth, and I don't want to go over old ground again. They let him down in the summer. They've let him down now because we're 2 weeks into a transfer window. We all knew this situation was happening, and we've still not got any bodies in other than the goalkeeper who's 21 years old. So while I, you know, rate Kinski and think he's going to be all right, he's hardly the person to come in, grab everybody by the scruff of the neck and pull them through the dirt, right? So I'm frustrated with Ange because I think it's to his detriment that he's not at least trying to do something that makes us a little more solid. Because we're just too easy to play through. And that to me needs changing, and you can do it with the personnel you've got.
You know what? I understand the point. Here's the problem I have with the club on this. Why are they bringing in managers that are not known for adapting to situations then? Why are they bringing in managers that are steadfast in their belief in their philosophy? You know, if they want guys that are willing to adapt to the situation, which is ultimately what they need, considering they don't give a manager a full squad to work with. If you're bringing in a Postecoglou, and by the way, I told everybody when we signed him, everyone was telling me he's a project manager. I says, think again. He's here for he wants to win here and now. You know, he's not going to, you know, be this project guy that everyone thought he was going to be. I tried telling everybody at the start. When you're bringing in Postecoglou's, your Mourinho's, your Conte's, you don't turn around to them and go, oh, we're bringing in players for you, you know, for you to work with that we think you should be able to work with. You go and bring in what players they identify so that you get what every other club, the benefit that every other club has got out of these guys. But at Tottenham, we don't give them a full squad. We put them in this predicament, and then we go, we want you to change. But you're hiring a manager that is not used to adapting, not used to changing. So, you know, why aren't you hiring managers then that are known for adapting? If you're operating off the policy that you're signing the players and you want the now head coach to work with it, then you got to bring in a guy that's adaptable, that's flexible, not a guy that has steadfast philosophies. And this is where the club keep going wrong. They're not matching it up correctly. And this is why these managers get into these situations. Everyone goes, they have to adapt, they have to do this, they have to do that. And it's like, but for all we know, he's told them in the summer, this is what I need. So we don't get into these situations.
Right. Well, but it's a weird situation, right? Because we've got ourselves in a situation where you've got a club that have got really, really lofty ambitions. I'm sorry, guys, I'm aware I'm talking a lot here. You've got a club that have got very, very lofty ambitions, right? Because we want to win something. We want to be at least in that second to third, you know, second to fourth, you know, Champions League essentially. Maybe, you know, win a championship. You've got a board that want that but don't want to spend the money for it. So they hire a coach, or they go out and try and hire a coach, and they ended up getting the coach that was what, 7th or 8th on their list. So they've got lofty ambitions, but they've got no manager that really will manage those ambitions. And now they've hired a manager who, Dave, I get what you're saying about him being a project manager, but to me,
oh no, I was saying he's not a project manager. Everyone was trying to tell me he was. I was saying he's not. He is a win now manager.
He's not. He's a win. Sorry, he's a win now manager. But we've got a board that don't want to spend the money on a win now manager. But also that win now manager, as far as I'm concerned, has gone as far as he's going to go in the game. Fair. I don't see him turning Tottenham into a juggernaut and then Real Madrid coming for him in 2 or 3 years and him going to the next level. I feel like this is as high as Ange goes. Fair. So I think there's a different mentality from Ange in terms of, before it was like a couple of years, I'm going to do this, I'm going to knock it out, and somebody's going to come in and I'm going to move up. I think this is it for him. So I think you're seeing that, and I think this is why he's acting the way he is sometimes. I think it's getting to him a little bit, because I don't think he's ready to lose what he's worked all of his career for. But by the same token, the club aren't giving him the tools to do the job properly. So it's just this. I don't know. I'm
been like that since Postecoglou, Drew.
Yeah,
it's been
I'm
like that since Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Big up. No, look, I think, many people would probably agree with that assessment, to be fair. Surf South says, wrong. We have one of the lowest goals against away from home. Our problem is scoring goals. I mean, look, how long have I been saying this? I've been saying this for at least a year and a half now about our problem going forward and stuff like that. I'm glad that people are starting to recognize it. That's for sure. Let's bring Dermo in here. Dermo, with Everton sitting just 1 point above the relegation on Spurs, only 8 points above the relegation zone. Some have dubbed this a 6-pointer, like we've seen today with the comments. How critical is this for match for Tottenham Hotspur in avoiding a relegation battle? Because some would argue if you lose this, you are being sucked in. Right now, we're just sort of staving above it. Should this be viewed as a must-win for Spurs? Anything else is unacceptable?
Yeah. Anything else is unacceptable. Wednesday was unacceptable. That's why I was so angry after the game. That's why the video I sent you, Dave, where I was so angry with Ange, and I'm Ange out. I'm not supporting him anymore. And I hated saying it. And I broke my heart saying it. And as the days have gone on, this Everton game's come up, and I'm thinking, I need to get behind Ange. I need to get behind the team. This is a must-win game. This is a massive 3. This could define our season, which way we're going to go. And then we lose Dom Solanke last night, and I'm thinking, I like you, Dave. I did my predicted lineup way before the Dom news broke, and we broke it live on our show. Like, we were live when it broke. And I'm thinking, oh, fucking hell. Excuse my language. Oh, hell. That's Dom out now. And it saps a bit more out of you. And then you think, do you know what? No, I'm going to get behind the Bads, because today is a must-win game. So today, yeah, it's a must-win game. I just don't know if Ange has got the bottle, or the players have the bottle. I don't know if Ange has got the tactical nous to get us the win today. Everton, David Moyes is no me manager. He has Ange's number. And you may say Moyes is a crap manager, but he's won a trophy with all teams. West Ham, of course, they won a European trophy, more than what we've won. So it's not going to be easy up there. They're fighting for their lives as well, and they were used to fighting down there. We're not. So it's a whole different ball game when you're fighting that sort of 6-point relegation or near enough relegation battle. So it's a different ball game down there. And we're not used to that, and we haven't got the players that have got the fight or the fight or the cojones to do that battle, and Everton do. So that scares me a little. But look, I always back the team. Of course, we're going to win today. But do I feel that they have the cojones or the heart for the battle? No, I don't. Ange may do, but some of them players don't. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. I think if we get sucked down in there, I worry about the character of some
Mm,
players. And you look at some of the players we've bought to replace Harry Kane, for instance, all relegation
yeah,
fodder. Are they going to be the guys to get you out of it? They
yeah.
weren't the guys to get previous clubs out of it, so I don't bank on it. But guys, while we have 500 people in house, make sure you tune in Tuesday at 6 p.m. Just going to give a cheeky plug because we are going to have a bit of a debate show because I remember saying 2 years ago when everyone was saying to me, Dave, sell Harry Kane. I remember saying to everybody, you let Harry Kane go, and as soon as Son gets over the hill, we will head towards the relegation zone. And that's where we are right now. I think right now, yes, you obviously got to look at Ange Postecoglou. But even if you think Ange Postecoglou is 50% of the blame, you also got to, find out where the other 50% goes. I think some of it goes towards the transfer window that we didn't have in the summer. But also, how much is it down to losing Kane and technically Son this year because of his little input? Are we seeing effect on Tottenham Hotspur? Because when you think about it, Postecoglou is the only manager that's had to deal with the post-prime Kane and Son era. So are we actually seeing the effects of Tottenham not replacing them adequately enough? And that's what we're seeing. Because I'm actually of the belief you can bring in another guy. I still think he's going to struggle with what we've got, especially going forward and stuff like that to a large degree. So we're going to have a massive debate about that on Tuesday. And anyone that told me, that was on the wrong side and told me I was deluded and everything else when I said that, make sure you're there for it. But look, let's keep moving on. On to you, Donovan, my man. Look, before we get in and talk about Postecoglou's future, I have a super chat there from Moondog and Jason as well, which we'll get to when we get there. Just want to throw a quick question at you, Donovan. Look, we haven't won away at Everton since 2018. The last 5 league meetings on Merseyside all ending in a draw. Given the importance of this game for Spurs' league position, are you confident that Postecoglou's side can go up there and break this 6-year winless streak at Goodison Park? Because I think a lot of people are looking at this and going, it should be 3 points. But we've gone up there with better teams in better situations and haven't been able to beat them.
Yeah, no, it's not an easy 3 points by any means. People are slagging off David Moyes. I mean, maybe just a copium mechanism, like to try and talk down the opposition and have that mentality of us versus them. But Moyes is not a slouch. Like a lot of people don't like the younger generation maybe don't realize the career Moyes had and how he took a sub-average Everton team and kept them competitive for a long period of time. I know he left Everton to try and chase that post-Fergie United and go to United to try and, he was the man in form and he wanted to take on United when United come calling at the time. That's the big job. That's like when Real Madrid comes calling. Right? It's a big club. So he tried that, didn't work, and now he's crawled himself back. And I think he did an ample job with West Ham. You see now how they're struggling, and Lopetegui's already out the door. And the man's classic football, and he has tactics that work. Right, timeless tactics that work, and they have the players for it. Okay, like, I don't care what you say. Like you said earlier, you Son through the middle. I don't want to see that. Tarkowski's going to kick the living crap out of him all game. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to be pumped up. They have a new manager bounce. They have a new stadium, which absolutely looks beautiful. I saw it on the River Trent there. It looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's going to be one hell of a battle. And I know we don't like to use the word relegation there, Dermo. I totally agree with you. But unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that we're a couple of mixed results away, and we're right there. We slip right in there, man. The bookies in Canada come out there with the end of the season, mid-season updates, and top 6 relegation fodder. Tottenham Hotspur made that 6th spot, man. 150 to 1, and I never thought in my life I'd see that. And it's really a shame how far we've fallen from the best striker in the world to where we are now. So whatever happens out there today. We have to get behind the team. We have to get behind the boys, but it's not going to be easy at all. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be tough. We know Dwight McNeil can whip in a good cross. We know Dominic Calvert-Lewin's tough in the air. He's going to be Dwight
McNeil's injured.
Okay, then gosh, then that's huge. That's huge because he's going to put a big man on Archie Gray. He's going to bully the youngster. So another test for Kinski, another test of character for the back line. If we can keep the ball and we can play Ange ball, some form of Ange ball, we have the technical ability to play our game and keep the ball in the deck. But lately, and this season in particular, when teams have put pressure on us and started breathing down your neck and just, taking those cynical fouls and those tactical fouls and just kicking the crap out of us, we've crumbled. I look back to that Selhurst Park game. We still had a fit team, and that was with Romero and Van de Ven and Porro and Udogie. we couldn't string 4 passes together to save our lives in the back line there. And that's what teams coming at us hard. And we might not want to admit that Tottenham are in a relegation battle. I don't think we are quite yet. I'm just using that terminology to kind of like allow us to like wake up and realize the situation now, how close we are. But Everton are. Like, they've been in a relegation battle for the last 3 seasons. So they know what it's like to go through it. Yeah. They know what it's like to fight through and get these 3 points in these must-win games, right? They've got a good leader in the back. Unfortunately, you could call him T-Rex arms or whatever. Jordan Pickford's a good keeper. Right? That's going to be the difference of class today. He's going to be leaving that back line. They know how to get over the line. They know how to kick the living crap out of teams. Honestly, I'm not going to take a point because we need 3. Yeah. But I would take a 1-0 snapper handoff right now. Thank you. Get out of there, because we're not going to be generating lots of scoring opportunities. Hey, I might be wrong. I might be talking on my ass now and we absolutely do a clinic on them. But I don't see it. We look at the Arsenal game. It's not so much the fact that we lost against Arsenal. Like, that burns. It's like Drew saying I woke up pissed off. Like, if I think about it too much, I'm gonna start getting pissed off. Yeah. What pisses me off about the Arsenal game is the obvious level of gulf between the 2 clubs.
Yeah.
Because Ange, for me, is, I don't like throwing the manager under the bus, but Ange, well, he's the manager, he's our leader. Ange was supposed to take us to find an identity of football that works for Tottenham Hotspur, the attacking, the theirishyid club, and allow us to go and be competitive in these environments. Granted, we don't have a lot of our first team. We could name a first team with all the injuries we have, but we didn't look like we had any sort of theos idea, any sort of competitive bone in our body against Arsenal. I didn't watch your watch along because I like to just zone out and watch the game myself, mate.
I don't blame you. Even I didn't want to be there second half.
So everyone's saying that even you, Dave, was like, hey, man, like, I can't get going for the second half.
I couldn't. I'm watching shit. Do you know what it is, Donovan, right? I've said for about a year and a half now, if not longer, even before the season started last season, I said, if people are thinking, because people used to tell me, Son's going to carry this forward line. He's going to carry this club forward. He's going to captain this club. He's going to score all the goals up front. He's a striker. On evidence, they realize they're wrong and they all go, oh no, moving back out to the wing. But we've had a problem up front ever since we sold Harry Kane. But to be honest, no one wants to talk about it because everyone was more than happy to roll over and let him leave. Regardless whether he wanted to leave or not, everyone was more than happy for it to happen. And no one wants to have the conversation because they were wrong about it. And that's why no one's talking about the effect that not having Kane, not having a declining Son. No one wants to talk about the effect on Tottenham Hotspur. There is a huge effect on Tottenham Hotspur not being in a position to have someone there ready to replace Son just in case this happened. Not having not spending the Harry Kane money as best as you can to go and get another striker that's guaranteed to sort of bring you in goals. We took gambles with that money, and now we're paying the price for it. And Ange Postecoglou is the first manager to deal without the Kane and Son effect. We have been absolutely boring going forward for most of last season and all of this season. We are relegation standard. But am I surprised? We brought in Brennan Johnson from a Nottingham Forest team staving off relegation. We brought in Dom Solanke for a Bournemouth team that are used to fighting above relegation. We brought in Udebur from a relegated Burnley. We brought in a Manisate from a relegated Leicester. I'm not surprised with shit going forward. I warned people 2 years ago this was going to happen. I don't trust Daniel Levy to use the money correctly. And here we are today. Is some of it down to Ange? Of course it is. Some of it is down to Ange. He's got to be doing better despite the injury crisis. Of course, he keeps talking about the long term. Hello, wake up. We're in the immediate. We need results immediately. But there's a massive effect of not having someone like, because we had problems when we had Conte, when we had Jose, but they were able to mask it because they were able to put points on the board.
So the thing there is, like, big debates come out now about the Kane versus Holland, and I'm seeing online, I'm seeing on forums, I'm seeing on talk shows that Kane is finally getting the results and the accolades and the benefit of doubt almost that he deserved for that decade of Tottenham. Because how many times have we seen a sub-average Tottenham and a player like Harry Kane being able to put us on his back, get us over the line, get that goal? I look back, yes, and Son, of course, the best striker partnership the Premier League has ever seen. I'm looking back to that home game against Crystal Palace. and Kane's on his own goal line on the 67th minute, clearing the ball off when everyone else has given up. Aging Hugo Lloris heading the ball off his own goal line, and then 10 minutes later going and scoring the winner. Okay, he's a generational talent. People can see now that Haaland is a luxury player. When City aren't playing well and everything, he goes missing. He can't link up the play. He doesn't know how to get crafty. He doesn't know how to drop back and link up the play like Kane used to. So yes, and you have to look at Tottenham Hotspur before. I know the question was, can we win at Goodison Park? A little bit sidetracked, but you have to look back. Yeah, you have to look back to Tottenham before Harry Kane as well. Like switching, we always had a good decent amount of strikers and attacking players. Okay, we've always been that club that was there, who had the flashiness. We're there, being able to a cup team, being able to score goals, but we didn't have that player. We could argue Modric and Bale, maybe Van der Vaart.
See, we have had players of certain caliber before them, though. Like you've alluded to it there. You've had your Modric's, Bale's,
but you never had a player that was like Harry Kane, right? You never had. Back in the day, you had Jimmy Greaves. Yes, I'll give you that. But you didn't have a player that would solidify your club, bringing us from that average club we were to a title challenger, right? And now that we're missing that. I'm just echoing you, Dave. But no, long story short, Goodison Park here. We keep the ball in the deck. We play technical football. We play a game that allows us to hold onto the ball and dictate possession, start generating chances. We're going to win the game. But Everton are not going to let us do that. They're going to come out there. It's going to be a bloodbath. So it's up to us if we're up for it. If we can go in there and we can start winning some tackles and we can honestly, okay, now I'm starting to sound like Dermo here. If we play the youngsters, if we play somebody who can go out there and fight for the badge and go out and put these tackles, like ironically, Jed Spence is showing that he can do, then yeah, we might have a chance, but we're going to have to do what we haven't been doing and fight for every second ball. Go out there and graft. Go out there and just win, even fighting for referees' decisions, man. Fight for the bloody coin toss, like let them know what the hell's up. But we haven't been seeing that.
That's what happens when you have youngsters, though, Donovan. You don't have that sort of experience in them moments that you need. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they give you energy and stuff, but that sort of cynicalness or wasting time, they don't have that yet, and that's one thing that bugs me at Tottenham Hotspur. When we're on the counter, we get pulled down, dragged out of left, right, and centre. When other teams are on the counter, we just go like that, run in front of us. We won't take you out. It really, some of the dark arts is that we don't use at Tottenham is really annoying. It's been like that forever. Jose Mourinho even said it. You need to be that B word. You know what I mean? But we're not. We're just too nice at this football club. It drives me absolutely mad, because I do want to sort of progress the conversation on, to a bit about Postecoglou's future today. I want to go around the house and see where people are at if things don't go right today for us. Are you willing to give Ange a little bit longer, or would you be sort of on the one where you call from, you think we need to change? Because, look, I know what the board are putting out there. We've all seen it. But I am of the belief, if we don't win today, I think whatever goodwill is left within the fan base for Postecoglou, I think severely drains, to the point where it's all one-sided against them. So we're going to have a conversation around that. Moondog says, Ange is out of his depth. We have gone backwards. Look, I think more and more people are sort of maybe, coming around to that opinion that Ange Postecoglou is out of his depth, Moondog. Look, I think it's more than just Ange Postecoglou. Don't get me wrong. I think DB asked the question in the chat. Was Ange Postecoglou the right guy to sort of deal with the post-Kane and Sonny era? Look, it was always going to be a huge gamble, but I think people have to have an understanding of why we ended up at Postecoglou in the first place. We tried Arne Slot, couldn't get the deal done, or he walked away. We tried Nagelsmann, no interest in joining Tottenham Hotspur. And I'm not being funny, but that's because the narrative and what way Conte and Jose Mourinho left the football club. You had two managers that, regardless of what Spurs fan thinks, are revered around the world of football for winning, for what they do. And when they've left Tottenham, too old, outdated, clueless, tactically inept, this, that, and the other, not getting up to speed with the modern game. That's the way Tottenham see it, but the rest of the footballing world don't. And when you've got two managers of that caliber leaving the football club around that circumstances, What manager of any sort of caliber that's on the rise is going to want to touch Tottenham Hotspur unless they take a gamble or unless they're desperate for that opportunity, like Postecoglou was at 50-odd years of age, desperate for the opportunity. So there has to be an understanding on why we ended up at someone like Postecoglou in the first place. And that's why, and maybe that's part of the reason why he's still in the job and they haven't got rid of him yet. Because they're probably well aware that is there actually that much interest in the job at Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, we can pay big wages. Yes, we've got a massive stadium. Yes, we've got a massive training complex. But when you got guys that are on the rise in the game, or you got managers out there that want to win, why would you come to Tottenham when we've got a history of losing, or we've got a history of telling you you're wrong, you're not a winner? So I do think there has to be some understanding why we ended there. But do you know what, Moondog? Look, I get what people are saying around Ange, but I don't subscribe to this that he's clueless or out of his depth, just like Jose, just like Conte, maybe to a different degree, but he does have a CV of winning, and there has to be something looked into that the common denominator on his Jose Mourinho and Conte's CV is Tottenham Hotspur. There has to be, at some point, you got to go. Well, that's three managers. We're the problem. We're the problem here at Tottenham Hotspur. That's just where I'm at. And plus, like I said, without someone like Kane and Son, who I tried to say are putting this amount of points on, I went and got everybody the stats. This is how many points their goals have put on the board and stuff like that. Don't worry about Dave. Don't worry about it. So I do think there's been, no Kane, no Son. You also got to factor that in, the piss poor transfer window in the summer, not bringing in any more experienced players. There's more factors to this than just one simple factor. But the thing is, Ange Postecoglou will pay the price first. Make no mistake about that, Moondog. Jason G says we don't have the fit players to rotate, so the issue keeps compounding itself. I just don't think some fans give enough credence. And 100%. And this is what I was trying to say, compared to, the Bournemouth point that Dermot was, alluding to earlier on in the show. There's a massive difference for someone like at Bournemouth where they're playing one game a week, where they've got 5 days rest during the week. Yes, they've got injury crisis, but they're fresh. They're only doing it once a week. We're playing every 3 days. So the fact that we can't rest and you have to keep playing them, it compounds, the more tired you get, the more susceptible you are to injuries, to knocks, etc., etc. So you're absolutely spot on. It does sort of compound itself going forward. But then you go, okay, club, help the situation. Brought in one player to alleviate the situation this January, despite our need to act fast in the market. Nowhere near good enough. It was the same with the summer. We all knew coming out of last season, every fan sat there and said, we need some experience. We need some good quality players to kick on, bring in some really good competition and move forward. It didn't happen. And now we're sitting here in January, like we were last January, where we're looking for help. We only brought in Werner and Radu Dragusin. And it goes back to my, problem with Johan Lang. He can sell the dream of Tottenham Hotspur to anyone that's dying to make a move to the Premier League, to someone like Kinski playing out in the Czech Republic. What he can't do is sell Tottenham Hotspur to an experienced player. And I think that's a huge, huge problem of Tottenham Hotspurs moving forward. And I do question Johan Lang in the job. And if I'm Daniel Levy, if he can't get anything done over the next week, sack him and go and look to get someone else in that you think can get deals done very, very quickly. Big up, Jason G. Very, very good point, my man. We have Levy Towers. What is the club going to do now that Solanke is out? We needed players before our ownership, and some of the fans are seriously sleepwalking into relegation fight. Lose today, and we are doomed. And look, do you know what bugs me about this? Postecoglou was in the press conference this week saying, hopefully over the next week we'll get some players in. But I'm pretty sure it was only a couple of games ago before the FA Cup game, after Liverpool Carabao Cup game, said there should be a forward player in the next few days. And this is where I get really annoyed, because he said all of December, I need help, I need 4 players in this door. So we go and buy a goalkeeper. How does this make sense? It really doesn't. And now we're looking at Dom Solanke being injured because Conte has had to continue to select them because Richarlison hasn't been fit. So I don't blame Conte on the Solanke injury. I actually blame the football club because, if Postecoglou was coming out after Carabao Cup semi-final saying, we're expecting a striker or a forward player in the next couple of days, it screams to me that whatever reason, I think they're expecting Colin Mawani. It didn't happen. And all of a sudden, he's forced to play Solanke. So this is where I get really angry at the football club. And now we're still sitting in a situation where we still need to go and buy more forward players. Oh, it's absolutely madness, Levy Towers. It's absolutely madness. But look, I agree with you. I think we are sort of, to a certain degree right now, we are sleepwalking to it. But that's why today's game is of massive importance. The game at the weekend against Leicester next weekend, of massive importance. 2 teams down there. If you can take 6 points, you stave off that talk for the season, to be quite frank. And it sort of maybe might alleviate some of the pressure and calm some of the fan base down about, because no one wants to have these relegation talks. To be honest with you, I think the closer we are to it, the more the talks come about. I think inevitable is going to happen, and that's where my concern comes in. I don't think we've got the right characters to help us fight out of this situation, Levy Towers. So, yeah, it's a bit of a lose-lose situation at the minute. You're absolutely spot on. Big up, Levy Towers. Good to see you in the house. And then Dermotron has gifted out 2 channel memberships. I think one has gone to Just a Harmless Potato. I can't see who the other one's gone to the YouTube channel.
I think it was Dry Roasted Peanut.
Dry roasted peanuts. So fair play to you guys. Make sure you thank Dermotron for the generosity there. Big yourself up, Dermo. And guys, thank you very much for the support. Look, guys, let's keep moving. I mean, Drew, we'll go back to you, my man. Tottenham are sitting.
No, can I jump on? Sorry, yeah. Can I jump on something that you said the other day, because you brought up something that was pretty interesting, where you mentioned in a video that you thought that potentially Maddison and Johnson have a little thing going on, and they've maybe had a falling out with Ange, and there's some.
The Johnson one is recent for me. I think when I look at him siding with Maddison, and the fact that he's on the bench a lot despite all of our injury crisis, and Postecoglou's going with the 18-year-olds, it stinks that something has happened. But I've been on the Maddison one for ages. I remember speaking months ago saying that I think Maddison has had a falling out with Postecoglou for sure.
Right, so something came up on my Spurs-related Insta feed yesterday from Matt Law in the Telegraph. It says Spurs are now trying to prove that Postecoglou will not be undermined, and that the squad can no longer sit around and wait for the manager to be sacked when they fail to perform or step out of line. There is recognition internally that some of his more experienced players have let Postecoglou down so far this season. So that came up, and I read that, and then I thought about it, and your video came up in my head about the Johnson-Maddison thing. And now I'm thinking to myself, well, Johnson and Maddison, 2 players that apparently, from what we understand, he wanted. Especially, the phone call with Maddison, regardless of whether you come, regardless of whether you come to Tottenham.
I'll accept the Johnson one, but I do think there has to be recognition. Tottenham were chasing James Maddison since his Coventry and Norwich City days. That's not an Ange Postecoglou signing. That is a club signing.
There's a club signing, but surely, I mean, all of the stuff pre him signing, all the stuff him signing, there was very much this media thing where they portrayed it, right? Because James Maddison comes out and says, Ange Postecoglou called me and he turned around, he convinced me. He said, regardless of whether you come, Spurs are going to, play differently. And that just made me want to join. So essentially, it may be that we'd gone for him in the past, but there's recognition that Ange said, yes, let's bring in James Maddison, right? Or at least he was somewhat on board. So now you've got 2 players that potentially he had the desire to bring in that are now, one narrative is they might be being scapegoated. Another narrative is they've just fallen out. But if it's the case that they're his players that he wanted or he said yes to, and now he's fallen out with them, and he doesn't have the capabilities of unfalling out with them, I can sort of somewhat understand. I mean, I guess on the one hand, I can understand why you're hesitant to throw more money at his players, but on the other hand, you've got to help him. So if you're not going to bring in his players, bring in club players, right? And you're just at the moment we're stagnating. We're not bringing in anybody. So behind the scenes, I'm questioning if everything's just as we think it is, right? There are so many different narratives coming out of Spurs, and look, I get this. I understand why people are getting frustrated in the chat, and I understand why I sound hypocritical when I say, well, Ange, I feel like Ange has got to change, or he's got to adapt, or he's got to do something. But then we're going through a massive injury crisis. And I, for one, appreciate the injury crisis, I think, for a little bit more than it is, because you can't just go from one game to another saying we've got X amount of players out and just think that it affects that day and it affects that match, because it doesn't. It affects the 15 players that are in training that can't go as hard as they want to go because they're risking, they don't want to risk injury as well. It also conflates it because they don't have the 10 players that are injured training with them to make them better. So you've got people, potentially players from the under 18s, under 21s making up numbers in training. So of course players aren't being pushed to the fullest that they can be. And now you're halfway through a season and you're struggling to get players back, and you've had this scenario for week upon week upon week upon week. So I'm sorry to sit here and say I don't expect much week on week, because I'm looking at the trail of destruction that we've had for the previous 10, 12, 15 weeks. Like, it's not going to get any better unless a wand is miraculously waved and players start coming back 100% fit, or we start buying players. But that doesn't mean to say I'm not going to sit here and just willy-nilly just say Ange is the one. I can see his master plan. I can see what he's doing. In basketball, if you've got a fatigued team that have been doing full court press, what do you have them do? You have them come back, play zone, play half court press for 15, a minute, 2 minutes, because obviously it's a shorter game. Do you know, you have them come back and relieve the pressure from themselves for a minute, gather themselves, get a bit of momentum back. You see the adaptation within the formation and within the structure. And that's the one thing that I'm not seeing. And whether that's because we don't have the bodies, we've got to somehow, there has to be a way of recognizing that you can't just go all out for 90 minutes with these players anymore. And I just think they're being pushed a little bit too much. I just think there needs to be a recognition that he needs to take his foot off the gas 5%, have him drop off 5 yards. So, so we don't get as many, opportunities on goal. I'm sorry, has anyone seen? The opportunities aren't that great at the moment anyway. Like, all I see from us out there is a team that, frankly, don't seem to be able to pass particularly well. I always see a team in transition where they give the ball away so much that they're facing one way, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 of them are having to turn around and chase the ball. I'm not seeing any kind of
one pass.
Yeah, well, is this really not where Johnson and Maddison should take some flack, though? Because, look, Maddison has spoke about wanting to get back in the England team. That's his desire. He's not going to do that being a squad player at Tottenham, right? He started off at Tottenham in the first team. Now he's merely a squad player. And the fact that he didn't start in North London Derby, the fact that he started the last 4 or 5 league games on the bench, and the only game he started in recent weeks has been the Tamworth game. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, if we're relying on youngsters and we're in the injury crisis we're in, it stinks of a falling out between the two of them. It absolutely reeks of it. And same with Brennan Johnson, who's another one who's been relegated to the bench in recent weeks. And if you cast your mind back to December, it was 2 or 3 games on the trot. Postecoglou was rollicking him on the sideline during the game. And again, it stinks of another falling out.
Well, Claire, I'll give you some.
But this is also where I think they need to take some accountability. They're more than happy to sit back, watch everybody else run themselves into the ground. Watch the injury crisis, watch the youngsters step up. We're on probably 10K a week compared to their 100-odd-K a week, and they're more than happy to sit back and go, no, we'll wait for Postecoglou to get fuck out of here. We'll come and play in 10 games for the next manager, look good, and then I'll be forgiven.
Dave, I've been Johnson's biggest backer. I'll give you some stats now because they're absolutely horrific. The last 10 games in the Premier League, 900 minutes. He's played 627. In the cup matches, he played 75 minutes against, played 75 minutes in one game, played 1 minute in another game, and then played 60 minutes in another game. I think it was 1 minute against Manchester United, 60 minutes against Rangers. Can't remember who the 75 minutes is. Basically, for a 23-year-old, that is not good enough. 627 minutes out of a possible 900 in the Premier League over the last 10 games. That is not being flogged. I'm sorry, it's not. If you're carrying an injury, fair enough. But to our understanding, he's not been carrying an injury. Everyone has always said in the past that the kid has got a problem with stamina. And I'm absolutely my blinkers are off. he was getting a hard time in the beginning. I've always seen his shortcomings, but I wanted to give the kid the benefit of the doubt because he's 22, 23 years old. I have seen nothing to suggest to me that he has gotten really any better, that he is going to get better. He's a right place, right time kind of player. And honestly, from now on, and I say this kind of jovially, but I will never mix his name with a Brazilian icon ever again. It is fucking done. Right?
He's gonna score the winner to now, Drew. He's gonna score the winner.
He'll get away.
And you know what?
Winning,
he might score a brace, but until that dude starts getting 20 and 10, he doesn't deserve that kind of fucking nickname and that kind of praise. The dude is not doing enough. And I've had to climb down off the hill because, I've finally seen the light, and I can't get on board with it. But again, this goes back to I'm slightly concerned that these are somewhat Ange's players. Now they've fallen out. Now he's having to rely on them again. We're going down the same road that we went down and have been down time and time again because the board don't want to, for whatever. I'm not going to say the board don't want to spend money because the board do spend money, but we spend money very, very badly.
But when you're always trying to make the budget because you change managers every 2 years at Tottenham, you look at how long ENIC has been here and the amount of managers we've had in place. It's roughly every 2 years we're changing managers. So when you put up 100 million, you're trying to make that spread across 8 positions. So automatically you're getting yourself into the realms of you have to buy cheaper, you have to buy younger, you can't buy that proven quality. Until we get a manager in here that sticks, that's working, and he's 2-3 years past the job, into the job, that's when you can go, right, the majority of your squad together, that's where you can go 100 million, let's go in and get a superstar. But we're never going to get to that point until they fully back a manager to that point. And that's the frustration thing around it. Just quickly,
I think we're almost past that point, dude. I think Daniel Levy has put such a target on himself. I think I mentioned, I don't know if it was on your show, I mentioned it a couple of weeks back. I think he's blackballed Tottenham to a certain extent. I think if you look at deals that get done by other clubs don't get done by Tottenham. McAllister to Liverpool for 30, 35 million, that doesn't get done by Tottenham. Tottenham are paying 60, 70, 80 million, or they're getting priced out of it. They get priced out of things because Daniel Levy comes along and everyone goes, oh, this fucker again. I'm not dealing with this guy. I'm not. So I think slowly but surely he has burnt bridges. And that's why I think Paratici is so important, because I think people like working with Paratici. And I think part of the breakdown is him not being able to work. I think you've got Levy. I think Langer and Levy, I think, are both very similar in that they're both a little bit detestable and unlikable, and they've got faces you would like to slap. I don't think we have good relationships with other clubs around Europe. And I think that is why we're having to pull in youngsters, and not only youngsters from teams that need money, because Leeds had to turn around and basically go, well, we don't really want to, but we kind of need 40 million. And I bet you that if Liverpool had really wanted him, and they'd have gone in there with 25, 30 million, 100%. Archie Gray would be with Liverpool right now.
100%. The problem is, that's also why Johan Langer was booted out of Aston Villa. He didn't have them European connections. That's why they went and brought in Munchie to get in the players for Unai Emery, because he does have them connections with European clubs. And look, to be fair, that's something people berated Paratici about, right? Oh, he keeps going back to Italy. He's using his connections. I don't see what the problem is. And now all of a sudden they're sitting there going, we need Paratici back. So I do think, at some points when people like that do come into this club, there needs to be a bit more objective thinking around the situation rather than just, go, he's a crook, get him out of here and stuff like that. Just quickly with Alex, he says, David would not have the bottle to get me on. Now, Alex, the problem I have with this is it's come 2 days after I text you, and we're going to do a show next Friday morning. Am I correct? You agreed to it? I texted you. I said, let's do a pre-record. So to say I don't have the bottle to get you on is completely inaccurate, considering I texted you 2 days ago, setting up something for next Friday. And I said to you, let's make it a weekly thing. Every Friday, pre-record, whatever you want to speak about, let's go. So that's the problem I have with that right now, Alex. It's not necessarily 100% accurate, Alex.
There's also 700 people watching, and we'd quite like to keep those views.
Look, Alex, look, I actually really like Alex. I think he's a really nice guy. But I drive him mad with my football opinions. He drives me mad with his football opinions. So let's get it out on Friday, Alex, and let's get tucked into it. But look, whether people agree with him or not, Alex is a nice. He is a nice guy. I've had the privilege of being at Tottenham games with him and stuff like that. He is a nice guy. It's just his football opinions drive him mad, just like mine drive his mad. But guys, I do want to get in and talk quickly about Postecoglou's future before we maybe get into the lineup today. We're sitting 14th in the league. We suffered our 11th defeat of the season in a 2-1 loss to Arsenal. It's been over a month since our last league win against Southampton in mid-December. We're 8 points above the relegation zone. And quite frankly, the patience is running out with the fans. So I want to go around the houses, and then we'll start with you, Dermo. How much pressure is on Ange Postecoglou heading into today's game? Do you believe this match against Everton is now or never moment for Postecoglou's future?
I don't think it is now and never. There was a meeting the other day at Tottenham. What I was told, he is safe for now. Because Levy doesn't want to pay him out if he has to sack him. That's one of the reasons.
But you not text me the other night and tell me he was on the brink?
He is on the brink, but the
now you're saying he's not.
Yeah, he was on the brink the other night. He is on the brink, Dave, but the board don't want to pay him out.
Okay.
So that's the point I'm making. That he is on the brink. He's on. If he loses today, he could well go this evening.
Yeah.
But then we're stuck with Ryan Mason, and then we're stuck in another, circle again. I think he is under immense pressure at the moment, not of his own doing. I think injuries play a part of it. I think his stubbornness also plays a part in it. I think the players haven't played for him. Some of the senior players haven't played for him. Quite obviously haven't played for him. So I think there's a combination, and the board haven't backed them. So there's a combination of everything. Who do we get in if we sack him? Who comes in? We're going to have the same thing again. Maybe the players that Ange's got there don't suit the new manager, and we're still all over again. I honestly, even if he's on the brink or the board, and he's not on the brink, or he's under pressure or not under pressure, we've got to stand by this man.
Do you think, just quickly to ask Anthony Lynch, Darmo, do you think Levy is already exploring, in the manager market? Do you think there's been conversations with other people, just in case?
You'd be stupid to say he's not. And Jamie, before you start saying things about me, I actually got a lot of things right. So go back on my channel and look what I have got right. I think he is talking to the other managers. You'd be stupid not to. I think you have to cover all bases. But who he's talking to, I don't know yet, Dave, to be fair. There was the Aguilera thing, but he spoke to him in November. So I don't know. But look, for me, who else is out there? Who's going to come, Dave? Who's going to come?
If he was talking to other managers, why would the board come out and give him 2 votes of confidence this month, saying, that he's 100% safe, we're going to back him, we're going to put the people around him? And that's why I don't think the club have been speaking to other managers. I think if they had another manager who was potentially interested and lined up, I think they'd make the decision.
I mean, look, I think why they're giving the vote confidence, I don't think anyone wants to come. I think Tottenham's reputation precedes itself. They know if they're going to come to Tottenham, they're not going to be back properly. They're going to be back with players they want. You would wonder if Conte and Jose's put the word around managers around Europe and around Europe, like, don't go to Tottenham Hotspur because you're going to be shit on. I think when they got, you remember when we were looking for a manager and we spent so many days, weeks and months for a manager, we suddenly got Nuno out of nowhere. And then suddenly Conte came in. Conte turned us down before Nuno got the job. And then suddenly Conte got a job, come and took over.
Rav D is saying, Dermo, you were Ange out, after the North London derby. And look, that's what I want to find out, Dermo. Where are you with this game? If he doesn't go and win this game today, do you think we have to change manager?
I look, this flip-flop thing I'm pissed off with. I was really angry after North London derby. I was severely angry.
I think some people have to understand. Sometimes there is emotion.
We all were, dude. We all were, man.
We're all emotional.
I look, I'm as I said, I'm 44 years supporting this club, and even the worst of our teams have never showed more passion than what them teams showed the other night. So I did the stream afterwards, Dave, and I was close to tears on it. And that's me being honest. That's how much it hurt me. And I know how much games hurt you when you lose. Look, if Ange loses today, look, there's a good part of me wants him to succeed and shut all them Ange people out and shove it down back their throat and say, look, you have to go. I showed you. I've won a trophy. Now shut up and let me get on with my job. But I also think that he's not helping himself by saying I'll win a trophy in my second season, stuff like that. I'm sort of in the middle with him now. I've sort of come back from that brink. I think anger and emotion got the better of me, to be fair, Dave. I know what he can do at Celtic. I've seen what he can do. I know what Ange is like. I just think the club haven't backed him. He's made mistakes. Look, we're in 15th place. We're 6 points off top 10. You know, get a couple of wins and we're back up that top 10 place again. It's been a weird Premier League season. Whoever thought Nottingham Forest would be up there fighting for the championship? Nobody would have said that at the start of the season. They would have said you're crazy. So look, no other managers jumping out to me, Dave. And I think you keep Ange where he is at the moment. I think you have to. You got no other choice. But the board are not backing him. The problem's not Ange. The problem's not the players. The problem is the board. It's Daniel Levy. Drew's spot on. And every fan can have any manager they want. Every manager is going to have the same problem. Because you look at Jose, you look at Conte, you look at Pochettino, you look at managers before Pochettino. How many managers were sacked and Harry Redknapp wasn't backed? Martin Yola was sacked at half-time. You go on and on and on. And it's just continuously of us not being run properly. One trophy this century ain't well damn well. Think about it. One trophy this century. Is that good enough for Tottenham Hotspur? No. So, you know, people can say whatever manager they want. They're never going to be back properly. Until the owners go, this club will never fulfill its full potential. Off the pitch, yeah, grand. Go-kart tracks, state concerts, everything like that, grand. I understand there has to be extra revenue, and maybe this is the blueprint for the future of football. Who knows? But no manager is ever going to be back properly, and that kills me. That kills me because I'm seeing my club that I love dying. We're not a football club anymore. We're a franchise, and that kills me. They don't. I don't see. A lot of fans don't see us as. I'm a last of a dying breed that remember us as a football club. Do you know? I don't get it, and I just sometimes the emotion gets the better of you, and you let your emotion do the talking, and that was what happened to me the other night. I let my emotion do the talking.
It's all right, Dermo. We forgive you, mate.
Yeah, look, it's not something you need to apologise. We all get angry after North London derbies. We all get angry if we drop points to Chelsea. You know, it's normal. At the end of the day, you know, even if you don't believe Tottenham are going to be successful or shit like that, you know, everyone still wants Tottenham to be successful at the end. Everyone wants Tottenham to win games, and it's hard when you're not winning games. You know, the emotion takes over. Like, you know, after North London derby, you know, it's got to the point over the last 4 years, I'm not even angry anymore. I just expect it, you know. It's just like, here we go again, you know. I'll go turn off my computer, I'll go to bed, sleep it off, wake up the next day and go fucking again, you know. It's getting to that point. It's getting hard. Look, I do want to kick, you know, caveat with this conversation by saying as well, you know, everyone wants Ange Postecoglou to succeed, but the reality is, right now, it's just not working out. And where I'm at, I think, despite me not thinking everything is Ange Postecoglou's problem, he's not doing enough to help the situation right now either. And I think if he doesn't beat Everton, all of a sudden, you're a couple of points above the relegation zone. Do I back Postecoglou to be the guy to navigate us out of that? No, I don't, because, you know, his football if you give them the right players, will work at the top half of the table. Down the bottom half of the table, where you need to be a bit more conservative, a bit more tight, I don't think he's going to set Tottenham up like that to beat the relegation zone. So I do think you will have to make a change, if we don't beat Everton, and especially if we don't beat Leicester, he has to go. I think you're going to have to rely on a new manager coming in here and hopefully get that new manager balance, because, like I said, I also believe he's had a falling out with Johnson, with Maddison, and if players like that aren't in it for the scrap for you, then what hope have you got to beat the drop? So I think a change will have to be made, despite me not thinking everything is Postecoglou's fault. And we'll take this super chat here from Blaine. First of all, Blaine, big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate the support.
Big up, Blaine.
Thank you for coming over and venturing into this next
Big up, Blaine.
And listening, to what we're saying. I know you're a very frequent of Spurs Talk Show, great channel. So big up, Blaine. Good to see you. He says, big up, guys. Being devil's advocate here, what is Ange actually responsible for? If injuries, recruitment, player performance, etc., are the excuses given, I'm Ange out, as you know. So what is his remit? And look, I'll kick it off, and we'll get Donovan in and Drew in on the back of this as well. Look, in terms of the injuries, I think it's twofold. Some people make the argument that's the way Postecoglou trains and plays. They say his training is too intense. But if you go back and look at Man United, they all say from that class of 91, training was more intense than match days on the weekend and stuff like that. So I struggle to give Tottenham players that excuse, because they've also come out and after Conte, Jose Mourinho sacking, saying, they spent too long on set pieces, didn't do this, didn't do that. So, I just think at Tottenham Hotspur, we've developed a culture where it's okay for the players not to work hard because they get the excuses. So I struggle to give them that excuse to a certain degree. In terms of, but also, if you go from a season where we had last season, where we only had the Premier League, and you're going into a season where you got European football and you're going deeper in the other cup competitions as well, you need to build a bigger squad for it. You're allowed a 25-man squad for a reason, and we're always hanging on to players that have been deemed not good enough under previous managers, still hanging around here, forming parts of the squad, and now all of a sudden people are going, Postecoglou needs to use them. But if he's already deemed them not good enough and the board haven't brought in the players to navigate that, I can understand why Postecoglou is very hesitant to use them when he doesn't have belief in them in the first place. And I do think, when you're effectively doubling the workload, doubling the training, doubling the travel, injuries are more frequent than the season before. So that is a factor that has to be taken into account. Maybe some of it is the way Postecoglou plays, but I do think the other part has to be taken into account. It's not all on Ange Postecoglou. In terms of player performance, now that's always, 90% on the manager, 10% on the players. Look, the players we would like to think should always be self-motivated and stuff like that. It's not the case sometimes. Sometimes they got things going on, they get distracted. But 90% of it is on the manager to try and get the best out of them. That's why people are known as great man managers. They see a player, they see his character, see what he's like, and they're able to tailor themselves to get the best out of that guy. Is Postecoglou doing that at Spurs? I think it's hard to say that he is, right? But when he first signed here, we all heard about how much of a great motivator he's been at Celtic, at Australia, and at other clubs. So again, it's hard to put it all on him, but it is genuinely up to the manager to try and drag the performance out of the players. So I side with you on that one. In terms of the recruitment, look, maybe I'm probably in a league of my own here, but I don't believe we sign players for managers. I think when you've pumped money into a data-led scouting department, when you've pumped money into, your DOS and stuff like that, you are bringing in players for the long-term future of the club. Players that you can bring in young, develop, sell on it potentially further down the line if they work out or they don't work out for much more money. So we're not incurring the losses that we have incurred in previous windows from a lot of Steve Hitchens buys. And when you're doing that, you're signing these players for the long-term vision of the football club and not directly for the manager. Yes, the manager's going to have conversations with these guys to try and get them in the door, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's his signing that he believes or his first, second, third choice that he wants for this position. I do believe that a manager might get 2-3 players max, but the rest of it is all long-term future. And the reason why I don't blame him on the player recruitment is you look at the summer, he spoke all season long about the need for trophies. You know, a lot of his recruitment at Celtic was bringing in guys for the here and now rather than youngsters. But yet in the summer, we bring in a load of youngsters. And what he said, which his ambition was, which was trophies and the transfer window, they don't add up for me. You're never going to win trophies by bringing in 6 or 7 youngsters, you know, to come in and impact the first team and stuff like that. And we didn't impact the first team in the summer compared to, you know, from the season before. So that's why I don't blame him in terms of player recruitment. I think it's something we get wrong at Tottenham for quite some time. So I meet you halfway, Blaine, but the other half I stick to my beliefs on it. So bit of feedback, Blaine. Let me know your thoughts on that. I mean, Donovan, we'll let you come in. And it's a fair question, you know, because you do listen around, you know, people do, you know, say not everything's Postecoglou's fault then. But then I'd also argue on the other side, you get people that blame Postecoglou for absolutely everything, which I don't think is good going forward, because if we continue with this, then are we any, you know, are we surprised why we're in this cycle every 16 to 18 months then, you know, where we're sacking a manager? Because everyone keeps blaming the manager, keeps putting everything on the manager, and sort of, in a way, we don't, it's only when the manager goes, then people start talking about the other problems. And by then, it's almost too late, because then we make the same mistake with the next manager. But Donovan, where are you at with the manager, with Postecoglou? If we don't win today, we get sucked down even further into that battle. Do we have to make a change in manager? And what do you believe is Postecoglou's fault, you know, that is going wrong currently right now?
First of all, shout out Blaine. Wow, what a question, man. That's a quality question.
He loves playing devil's advocate, Blaine.
Sky Sports interview right now. Let's go, man. We'll go back a bit. We'll go back a bit, Dermo. You touched on something that really thought provoked me there, man. You mentioned how you're maybe part of a dying breed, and how you're team first mentality, and now it's just a franchise, and now we're just a club, and now we're just club who employ players like employees. And I do kind of resonate with that, because it's interesting now, because I look at the object of loss and what it does to you, right? It's supposed to galvanize you, and this is what Ange is preaching to, right? This is like supposed to make you stronger. It's supposed to invoke emotion that you rely on, and it changes you to a person, and now because of it, you're a stronger person. Yeah, if you're a team, and if you buy into the project, and if you believe in Tottenham Hotspur, and you believe in something bigger than yourself. Now, if you're going to ask me if the likes of Yves Bissouma, I'm going to come out individually. If you ask me if the likes of Yves Bissouma believes in this team theos, and is just happy to collect 70,000 British pounds a week, live in the best capital of football potentially in the world, drive a nice car, send money back to wherever he needs to send it back to, live that lavish lifestyle that he would have no business living otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, in his last performances in the last 16 months, stealing a living, I don't think that really transcends to that whole message. Maybe it's a process where Ange hasn't gotten these players all on board, because not all of them are on board. We're still building that squad, where we've had a big turnover. We've had Pierre-Emile Højbjerg leave. We've had Ollie Skip leave, unfortunately. I'm not an Ollie Skip fan, but just it's sad to see one of our own players go out the door. So until we get all these players singing off the same hymn sheet, and we get it in the likes where we were that Chelsea game against Pochettino back at the home, there was something special then, I'll admit, where Dejke was doing his celebration like us versus the world. But it's tough. It's tough to build that squad. So do we have a board that's going to build that squad and give Ange the tools he does need to succeed? Historically, we don't. And that's why, as Dave mentioned, we are in this cycle of every 16 months, we seem to be switching over managers. We seem to have Ryan Mason as a fall guy. Does having Ryan Mason in the background excuse any of this? No, because it's the way of having a club saying, okay, it doesn't really matter what happens. We can just rip the carpet down, and we'll have our poster boy here take over and whatever. I'm just getting sidetracked. But go back to his question there. What is Ange responsible for? He's responsible for his tactics. He's responsible for this Ange ball way of playing, where he plays this high line and he plays this unrelenting style of football, which I admit on its day works when every player is giving 80 to 100% in this perfect environment where nobody gets injured, in this perfect environment where everybody has this right mentality, where we can go out every single week, us against the world, gung-ho, chest out and play. Well, that world doesn't exist in football. It just doesn't, especially at this level of football. You know, you are going to get injuries. You are going to get teams that can sit back. You are going to get other scouting and data markets that are better than you in clubs that are historically smaller than you, because that's how they survive and that's how they make their living and that's how they make it in the Premier League. So I don't think he's over his head, but I think this is the biggest and the summit of world football. And I think anybody that hasn't been here before or had the experience here before is going to be learning on the job. And that's clearly what this man's doing. Is it frustrating to sit him? Pardon me. Is it frustrating to watch him stand there with his hands in his pockets, completely emotionless, while we are at home getting thumped?
Is that a sign of, you know, he's defeated and he's just waiting for the club to pay him out rather than walk away?
No. I think that's a man learning on the job. I think that's a man taking it all in and calculating and learning on the job and has nowhere to hide because he's got the world on him, right? He doesn't just have 60,000 people in the fans, but he's got Sky Sports Belgium looking at him. He's got Sky Sports in Japan looking at him. He's got people all over the world because Tottenham Hotspur are, unfortunately, yes, you are right, Dermo, they're a franchise, but we have expanded globally where now we have invited the pressure on the world. When we made that amazing title challenge back in, what was it, 2014, 2013, when we should have won the title, but Leicester did, or it was 2014-15. Ever since then, people are like looking at Tottenham, and there was a point where Tottenham second club. And then we just shot ourselves in the foot for not getting over the line. So it's a big club. It's a big job. I don't think he's over his head because he has won trophies and he has won everywhere he's been. But I think starting to think that this might be a bit more than he could chew in the aspect of the timeline he projected himself. I think 2 years is a bold statement for any manager, let alone even Pep Guardiola, who had ready-built squads already. So the fact that he's had to gut the house, redo everything from the floor up, and expecting silverware and expecting this change of ethos to happen overnight, mind you, it's 16 months now, so I'd like to see something. So circling back here, is he under threat for this Everton game? I don't believe it's make or break this Everton game. Whereas if he drops points or if he loses this game in particular, he's out. For me personally, it's on the Liverpool game when we go away to Anfield. Okay. We get knocked out of that Liverpool away at Anfield, which is a tough place to go for any club, right? Everybody knows what the cop end is. Everybody knows how Liverpool are a different beast, and that's probably the toughest away ground in European football to go to. It's right up there with Prime Milan, Prime Borussia Dortmund at the. It's a top 5 venue. It's going to be tough. And those are the results that the manager, that's where he has to cash in. That's where he wins belief. That's when, if we can get over the line in those games, you sit back and you think, okay, well, this is something to believe in. Because last week I was preaching how these are the games that make or break seasons in the aspect of gaining momentum, losing momentum, belief. Every so often, the club has to pull something out of their ass. They just have to. That keeps us as fans. That keeps us part of like this project, the game. Don't even take Ange out of it and all these managers out of it. You want your club to go out there and win and surprise. Like, think back to that amazing Champions League run to the semifinal there and Lucas Moura scoring that hat trick. Nobody saw that coming, right? But those are the moments that make you believe in the game of football and believe in something a bit bigger than luck, God, whatever have you. Just to get in there and evoke that emotion. Well, we're starved of that at Tottenham Hotspur. So it can't be so, and I'm not having to go at you here, Dermo, but it can't be so flip-flop where it's like 1 minute we're in it, 1 minute we're not. I know nobody likes to win in North London Derby. I was pissed. I turned my thing off. I blocked myself off social media for a bit. I didn't want to see anything. But at the same time, though, it's a result-based business. So he's on thin ice. I don't think he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to get sacked tonight if we lose. If we go out there, I say this now, but if we go out there and we get thumped 3-1 by Dave Moyes' side that is capitalizing on set pieces, who are putting us under pressure and have outplayed us off the park, and we look like we did against Arsenal in the second half, there might be different questions. But I don't see that happening today. I don't think Everton have the minerals for that. I don't think they have the technical ability for that. And I just don't think we will allow ourselves to do that. But that being said, going back to my first point, is loss going to affect this squad? Do these players even care? Are they just collecting their wages? Or are they playing as individuals? Or are they playing as overspoiled athletes that are, like I'm saying, Basuma getting paid extortionate amount of money to do the bare minimum that any one of us on the planet would die to go and be in the position. You know, Drew was saying a couple of weeks ago how you pay him half a wage and you go out there and run till his hamstrings break, man. Yeah, that's a lot of us, right? But some of these players will just take a pay cut and worry more about their own career. And I've seen that with Johnson. I've seen that with Madison. But we're going to have to play them today because we have no other choice. So give them a ball at the beginning of the game. Go out there and play as hard as you can. But honestly, I don't know. I'm not saying I've lost faith in the club, but I've lost faith in these players. I don't think I've lost faith in Ange Postecoglou, but I've lost faith in maybe some of these select few group of players. I'm looking at an Archie Gray taking 2 or 3 touches out of his own box with some balls and taking an outside the foot Trivella pass out to the wing against Liverpool at home. That's a special player. That's a player who's playing for the badge. It's a player who's going on his own. Not a player like Basuma going up. I said this in the Chelsea game, and people gave me crap for it, saying I was too harsh on Basuma. Giving that ball away in the exact same position, running back, giving away that penalty, and I'm saying, be gone with them, whatever. Oh, Donovan, you're being harsh. Man, he did the exact same play, minus the penalty at the North London Derby, giving a ball away, making it 2-1. Was it 2-1? Yeah, it was 2-1 because Trossard got that goal off to make it up 2-1. So obviously he hasn't learned from his lesson. You're going to see the real Basuma. I'm sorry, man. That is the real Basuma, right? That's the bang average mid-table center defensive mid right there. So you give the guy the right tools, he's going to succeed. That's not an excuse there, Blaine, but it's reality, right?
Yeah,
so,
fair.
Yeah, so long-winded answer there. I don't think he's under pressure today. I think the Liverpool game is going to be the litmus test, personally. But he is at fault for his demeanor. He's at fault for his lack of experience, right? And at the Premier League level, I mean. So yeah, big shout out to your donation, man. But I think it's not just me, but I think a lot of Tottenham fans are on edge right now. I think we're frustrated in what we're seeing. I think we're frustrated frustrated how the team's performing, and it sucks when our marquee signing, our marquee signing, by the way, like we're in for Eze, we're in for Pedro Neto, we're in for Kulu Milani, but our marquee signing hasn't caught a game in 2 or 3 months, hasn't made a real impact probably in the last half calendar year, maybe to full calendar year, but he's got no problem wearing a new Puma shirt, wearing pink boots, going out doing YouTube shorts and throwing darts down on the mainstream on telly, man. I don't get that. So we're in a shambles right now, and that's why I'm hoping onto that hope that we can go to Liverpool and we can pull out the result out of our ass, because then we're in a final. Then we're in a final, and then Ange, it's up to Ange after that. Then people like you said there, Dermo, to get like win my trophy, you can fuck off, and I've won it. That's something I can do, but we're a whisper away from that, lads. Like it's on thin ice, man. He's Bambi out on ice, and he's down to the last centimeter, man.
He's up a paddle without a creek right now, Ange Postecoglou is.
Without a paddle, man, yeah.
But absolutely brilliant answer there in terms of, Blaine Devlin. And he has come back here with two comments, which I'm going to put towards Drew. Just quickly, Alex, I do want to be respectful to the guys that I've got on the panel. I do want to give them their airtime. I did invite them on for today. But like I said, I will have a discussion with you Friday, my man. Let's get it done. Let's get the discussion out the way. You can bring whatever topics you want. You don't even have to tell me ahead of time. Let's have the debate, my man. But for today, we've only got, half an hour left, not even 20 minutes left. I just want to give the boys the respect they deserve, but considering they're giving up their time for me, and hopefully you can understand that, Alex. Big up, my man. And guys, look, let's not get on each other's throats in the comments. I know Alex can wind people up, but you don't help when you keep when you keep winding him up as well. But look, Drew, I want to throw these 2 comments from Blaine at you, and then I will want to get into the lineup. Blaine has responded. He says, "Look, I don't blame Postecoglou for everything. I think you're right on the recruitment side. Could he put a firmer foot down, though, to affect change if the board supposedly back him? I think his inflexibility in the situation he has is why I don't back him for the long term. What if he's faced with a similar situation in 12 months' time? We have to go through the same again." You think these points are very fair that Blaine is raising? I think they're absolutely fair to a large degree, and I think that would be the concern of other people. Even if we do get through this, we come out the other, we incur injuries again. Do we have to suffer this again?
Dude, if we have to go, I don't know if I've got the energy to do another 12 months of this.
Do you believe Postecoglou should also be firmer with the board? Because, again, that's one I think, Conte and Jose have tried. I think it fractured the relationship and cost them their job. Do you think, Ange needs to be a bit more firmer with them as well?
Well, see, this is why Look, and first and foremost, like as I said on this show, and I said it on Spurs Diehards the other day. I want this to work. Like when Ange first came in, breath of fresh air. The amount of work that he's had to do, the amount of players that he's had to get out the door, the amount of players that have come in, everything that's gone on. I want this to work as much as anybody else. The things and. I bought it back at the end of last season. The amount of times that he had his first 11 available was 6, I think, in total, 5 or 6. And this year, it's been just as bad. So honestly, like big picture, if I'm looking, I don't know. I don't know if I've been able to see Ange at his best, right? Because I don't think, regardless of even if he has been given some of the tools, those tools have then been broken. He's waiting for them to come out the shop so he can use them again. So, like, I feel for the guy because it honestly looks like it's been one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. But I just don't think he does himself any favors. The situation where he turned around in a press conference and said doesn't want 27, 28-year-olds, wants youngsters so that he can mold them. 26, 27, 28-year-olds have a tendency to be, I'm reading between the lines, stuck in their ways, prima donnas, like essentially saying that he didn't really want, essentially saying he didn't really want or need experience.
Yeah.
And now here we are, 2 weeks before this transfer window, and he's like, well, no, we got some youngsters in and now I need experience. So, like, come on, man, which one is it? Like, I just
Do you
wish
think there is a
would...
part of it where he's adapting to what the club are doing to sort of, because reality is, right, I get what you're saying, but if he comes out on lambastes the summer transfer window we had, for instance,
no, absolutely, he's got to play politics.
He goes into it, right? Players lose belief in him, etc. So
there
does have to be an understanding. He can't just come out and lambaste the transfer window like many of us fans can, because put yourself in a normal situation, normal job. You're going to do what your boss asks you to do if you want to keep getting paid so you can afford your rent, your bills, food shopping, etc. Right?
Right. But you can always turn around and say, do you know what? It would be great to have a healthy mix of both. At the moment, we took the opportunities that were available, but we still need to, going forward, look. He just seems to be, he was so in one camp. That's the thing that I get frustrated. He was so in the, I don't need experience, and then went to, I need experience. That's the equivalent of us saying Ange in, Ange out. I mean, that's a flip-flop, right? And we all get on all of us in the chat again on everybody else's back for being a flip-flop. And the last thing I want is for my manager to be a bit of a flip-flop when I'm up against half the supporters of my club at one point or another calling me or somebody else a flip-flop. Like, the last thing I need is to see them a flip-flop in the press conference. I want a manager that kind of sticks to his principles. And from what I've been told, this manager sticks to his principles. Well, then he goes into a press conference and becomes a hypocrite and like contradicts himself. So that's where I get frustrated with him. Like, I see what I see the shit sandwich that is Tottenham that he's had to try and eat the last 18 months. And it's been rough. And as I said, that I want him to succeed. But another problem, and you can call this an Ange problem, it's something you can call this a board problem. When we bought players last year, we didn't buy players with any more than 40 to 45 games in their legs. And we were in 3 cup competitions, right? Which means, and if you've got any interest in going deep in those competitions, you need players that have had consecutively over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, 50 to 60 games in their legs, that have got the stamina to be able to withstand 50 to 60 games. So while I understand where he's been everywhere else, it's worked, okay, that's fair enough. But has he worked to this level of what needs to be almost like perfection within your craft, right? You don't get to be a Premier League footballer, and you can call players rubbish, you can say they're trash, right? Ben Davies gets a lot of stick. You don't get to be a Premier League footballer for 5, 10, 15 years if at some point you haven't put in the half graft and you aren't the pinnacle of your game. And I'm wondering whether the marrying up of his football with players that haven't had the amount of games that are called for at this level. And at that point, I'm wondering, has he not realised and got to think to himself, man, I'd really love for my style to work, and I think it will, because I've beaten Manchester City, I've beaten Manchester United, I've beaten Aston Villa. I've done it in the times where it's, I've got lightning in the bottle for those moments, and it's really, really worked. I've not seen a board of work at this level that tells me that either he can do it or he's capable of changing, or that Tottenham will back his idea of what his football should be. So, in short, it's everybody takes a little bit of the blame. But that's not to say that they're not all trying their best to get it right. I'll caveat with that. It's not all just shit, and everybody's just making mistakes for the sake of making mistakes. Like, I understand and see that people are trying to do what's best. Whether that's actually what's best or not is another, that's another conversation. So yeah, I guess that's my retort to Blaine. Big up, mate. Big up.
I take your point, on maybe the mixed messages and stuff like that. I think, you're absolutely spot on, to that regard. Sorry, Dermot, I think you wanted to come in before we get into the lineup.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something to what Drew said. I've listened to intensely, Drew, and it's really interesting what you're having to say, man. I was really enjoying what you were saying, as I have Donovan as well. It's been a really good show with the lads, with these lads, and I love doing shows with these two because they make you think, they get you thinking. And it was something about you said about, I think, Ange, he's done it everywhere he's go, but he's going to struggle sort of to do it at Tottenham. I think you're right in that, because he's been backed everywhere he's been. He never will be backed at Tottenham because the owners, I'm sorry to say it, ENIC are an investment company. What's the thing for an investment company? To make money, to make better on your investment. They paid 22 point something million for Tottenham Hotspur back in 2001. Their aim is to make money and make enough money in their investment, and they see Tottenham as a cash cow. So any manager that comes in, we had it with Conte, we had it with Mourinho, we had it with every manager, they're never going to get backed because they just think that will do. Our club motto doesn't mean anything to the owners. We lost Gary Brooks yesterday, a former player who won 2 FA Cups in UEFA Cup. I hope the club do something for him. Dennis Law passed away as well. He's got 2 statues outside Old Trafford. So it doesn't matter if any manager comes in, the club has lost its identity and it's lost its soul.
I just think where they've gone wrong, though, just quickly, and we'll end off on this because everyone in the chat wants us to get into the lineups. No, don't apologize. It's been a great show, guys. Great conversation. I really appreciate you guys this morning. Getting tuned in this early in the morning isn't the easiest thing to do, so thank you very much. But, this is the problem. The last 4 years we've hired win-now managers, but we're signing players for the future. So it's sort of like they've got to, after Postecoglou, they've got to look for a guy that is a bit more tactically flexible, someone that's flexible in general, willing to work with the club rather than, demanding from the club and stuff like that. We got a follow-up here from Blaine Devlin. We'll take this and then we'll get into the lineup. He says, lads, thanks for the views on my question. Some I agree with, some I don't. I believe the best managers adapt. I look at Iriola. Their squad isn't as good, but at its heart, Ange proved me wrong. Come on, you Spurs. No, look, really appreciate you adding to the conversations. This is what it's all about. It's about engaging with, people around the Spurs community. That's why I set up my channel. I have a lot on my mind. I have a lot to say. And, it'd be boring if I was just sitting here dictating to everybody. This is what it's about. Conversations with people we invite on, people with conversations at home with people that want to tune in and get involved in stuff. So thank you very much, Blaine. Look, I really like Iriola at Bournemouth. I think he's come in, he's done a they job. Initially they had their struggles, but since then it's just been one trajectory and it's been upwards. What I would say is it is a different ball game managing someone like Bournemouth where you've 1 game a week, coming to Tottenham Hotspur where you've more or less 3 games within the week. I do think that, there's a bit of a difference there. And, if Iriola came to Spurs, would he handle the situation as well? That's the only question I have around it, Blaine. But it's not to say I don't think Tottenham shouldn't go for him for that reason. They should go for Iriola. He's a fantastic manager, but I just question, would it work out a little bit differently for him at Tottenham Hotspur compared to Bournemouth? But big up Blaine Devlin. He's also become a new member. Big up Blaine. Really appreciate support, buddy. Look, we do a fan show every Monday from 7 till about 9, half 9. The link goes up into the community section, my man. Feel free to click on that link and come on and have a conversation with me, Blaine. Big up, my man. I really do appreciate the support, brother. Very, very kind of you. Guys, let's get into the lineup here. So we have Kinski in goals. We have Pedro Porro continuing at right back. Oh, I have my cameras off because the comments were blocking me, but I'll turn it back on now. So Kinski in goals, Pedro Porro at right back, Dragusin and Ben Davies at centre back. Ben Davies makes his long away return with Jed Spence at left back. And I think we're getting into a midfield that I think most fans have wanted to see. Archie Gray will step probably into the double pivot alongside Papa Matasar, with Bergvall playing a bit further forward in that midfield. Very interesting. This looks like, this is a glimpse of Tottenham's future, right? Bergvall, Sarr, Gray. You got two 18-year-olds, a 22-year-old in there. This is Tottenham's future. I cannot wait to see how this midfield gets on today, because I did have a question, but I'm going to save it and add it in onto the back of Tuesday's show, where we'll be talking about the impact on Tottenham Hotspur of losing Kane and, to a degree, Sonny this season, with him sort of not being anywhere near at the usual level. So I'm going to ask about, are we brewing a future golden generation in terms of young players that we're seeing and what they produce? So that is another conversation we'll throw in Tuesday. And then into the front three, I mean, look, this one's hard to determine what way it's going to be. Some would most likely presume Son's down the middle, but Postecoglou has played Kulu once or twice through the middle. So I'm not sure what way this front three is going to pan out. But right now, I take it as Kulu on the right, Maddison off the left, with Son through the middle. But that front three could be any variation. So let me know in the chat what you think it will be and what way you want to see it. Because you could easily play Kulu off the left, Maddison off the right. You could easily put Kulu through the middle. So please let me know what way you interpret that. But guys, let's go through everybody. Let's get your initial thoughts on the lineup. Let's get your score prediction. Dermo, we'll start with you, my man. Thoughts on the lineup and score prediction. I'm going to put your channel link in the chat. So people, please get over to Dermatron's THSC till I die. Click on the link I put in the chat. Smash the subscribe button. Dermo, take it away, my man.
Yeah, do you want the subs as well, Dave? It's
yes, please, actually. Yeah, usually that's Jack's job, because I can't see the small writing.
I thought I did. I'm honoured to take Jack's job, actually. This is an honour. Austin, Reglon, Hardy, Ajavai, Olsen, Minhook, Moore, Richarlison, Lancashire. I've just totally...
Hook's on the bench.
Yeah, I've just
and Ajayi as well.
Yeah.
Right wing, right back. Nice. Okay. I'll assess you there.
Moore, Richarlison, Lancashire.
Okay. Moore, Richarlison, Lancashire. Okay, so you presume Moore and Richarlison will probably come off the bench at some point. So that is the substitutes bench, everybody. Dermo, what's your thoughts on the predicted lineup and what's your score prediction, buddy?
I'm over the moon with Gray midfield. Me and Wayne been talking in the chat, and Wayne said to me that he thought he reminds me a bit of Dembele. There's a bit of Graham Roberts in Archie Gray. I can just see that sort of toughness. Even when he's been playing centre back, he just reminds me of Graham Roberts. And if we have another Graham Roberts in the making, then by God, have we got a player on our hands. I like great to see Ben Davies back. It's the front three that worries me. Why the hell he hasn't started either with Richarlison or Moore up front? I do not know.
They are fit, though, Darmo. We do have to take into account they were out for quite some time. How sharp.
Yeah, but Lancashire as well. I mean, I get it, but Sonny down the middle does not give me confidence. I hope it's Kulu down the middle and Maddison and Sonny on the wings, personally, myself. Look, it's a lineup that has to win today. Is it a lineup that can win dirty? I think it is, because of Graham midfield, to be fair with the midfield three. I think we can win dirty. It's a hard-working
midfield. You got to give that to Postecoglou.
Yeah, it is. I think Burfield, Gray together, and Sarr. I think that's our midfield tree going forward for the future. I'm going for a win. I'm going for a 3-0 Spurs win. Actually, I think we're going to win today. We're going to put a lot of people. We're going to pop a lot of doubts then back in Andrew Trust. As I've always said, in Andrew Trust, we are going to win something under this man. And Look, if you like what they have to say, get over to HFC till I die.
The cheek of this man.
Do you know what? This is why I love Dermot. You know, sometimes he drives me mad, sometimes with some of his opinions. But at the end of the day, his enthusiasm, I could get behind and back 1,000% heading into a game. I absolutely love that, Dermot. Guys, he's been fantastic today. Please get over, check out his channel, and smash that subscribe button on the great THFC till I die. Dermotron, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, man.
This morning and afternoon, my man. I really do appreciate it. Drew, moving on to you, my man. Look, you know, people are excited to see Davies back. They're very excited to see this midfield. You know, the forward line, to a degree, couldn't work today. It did need a bit of rejuvenation, a bit of freshen up. It did become stale. What's your thoughts on the lineup, and what's your thoughts on the score prediction? Because to be fair, I think Postecoglou has thrown a few surprises here. He said in his pre-match press conference, Gray is still needed across the back line, you know, because he actually asked, they asked him, will we see Gray in midfield? Now Davies is back. He says, oh, well, we're still short across the back line. He's played well there. He's needed there. So he sort of threw a curveball here. Is he flip-flopping, Drew?
Don't know. Do you know what? I'm concerned that Davis is coming straight back into the fold.
He has been training, though. He was training ahead of the North London derby.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I usually go real optimistic, and it ends up getting fucking thrown back in my face. So I'm gonna say 1-1.
Go on, Drew. Join my club. Join my club. Go on. You know you want to.
And just quickly, Drew, you know, do you think it's a lineup capable of getting 3 points today?
Do you know what? Honestly, I'm sorry, chat. After seeing
you don't need to apologise, lads.
No, but I'm just gonna get pelters for being fucking negative again. And do you know what? After that Arsenal match, I actually I'm looking at the Everton lineup and their new manager, and I hate to say it, I think they're going to want it more than us today.
Do you know what? I think that's a very fair question, a very fair point to a degree. You know, you look at the way we went into that North London derby. You know, it's clear one team understood what a North London derby means to the fans, and one team wanted.
And I don't want, like, let's just say, I don't want it to be that way. But the evidence on the last 90 minutes tells me that Everton.
But not only that, Drew, Tamworth. Did we want that game? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very fair question to raise, Drew. And Drew, I want to say a massive thank you to you guys. This guy gets
thank you, brother.
You know, all hours over there in the USA. He's currently living over there, gets up at all hours. And do you know what I keep saying to him? Drew, the early games, we're not in good form. Do you want to lie in? No, Dave, I want to be there. I absolutely love this. Guys, his dedication is insane. We absolutely love it. So make sure you say thank you to Drew for getting up so early. Sorry, Drew.
Put me in, coach. Just put me in the game. Put me in, coach. Happy to do it. Happy to do it. Big up to the chat. I really appreciate everybody. Love the feedback. Love the honesty as well. So remember to smash a like. Yeah, really, really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. No, and look, I think I speak for everybody. I think you've been an absolute great addition to the pre-match build-ups. We love you, Drew, so thank you very much, my man. Blaine says, seriously funny, we need a winger, and we set one out on to Leeds. A great scoring for him today. Sullivan, yeah, it's this club, Blaine, it does things you least expect it to do. You know, that's the thing. You think, this is common sense, this is logical, and then the club go and do this, and you're just sitting there scratching your head sometimes, and you're trying to find out why they've done it so you can have an opinion. But it's just, honestly, it's mind-boggling, Blaine. And then Donovan, on to you. We'll get your thoughts on the lineup, and we'll get your score prediction. Then I've a couple of chats there from Dark Song G, and then we will end off and get going again for the watch-along. So, Donovan, you happy with that lineup? You know, like I said, Postecoglou maybe is throwing a few curveballs. Surprised, I think people are maybe surprised Richarlison ain't starting up front.
Yeah, I think Richarlison needs to be wrapped in cotton wool. I think Ange Postecoglou has earned that. Yeah, so I was worried about Dominic Calvert-Lewin starting, man. Like, he's gonna be a handful. But the fact that Davies is back is gonna be nice. He's experienced. Davies over, I don't know how many caps at this level, decade at this level. He'll be fine to be able to deal with that. It'll be nice to have him. Davies right in front of Kinski. Honestly, it'll be nice to have a left-footed player on that left side. I've been on it countless times before about having the left-footed player there and how it slows down the play when you don't, and the angle and the whip you can put on that ball to generate attacks to the right-hand side. I think Sonny's going to benefit from that if he does play on that wing. I think it's going to be nice to be able to take the ball in the front foot rather than have to check back and then take the momentum backwards and have to try and turn with the ball with even a Premier League defender, even the youngest. Doku would have a problem constantly doing that for 90 minutes. So
Is that the Irish kid at right back, O'Brien?
I
It
don't know
is,
that.
yeah. It is.
Do you know what? He's a very good centre half, but at right back, I'm not sure. I think that's an area we can definitely get at them for sure. Sorry, Jonathan. I rudely cut across you there. Sorry, I just
no, it's all good, man. It is an Irish Hotspur, an Irish lad. Yours perk up. No, it's okay, man. I think it's going to be interesting to see the front three. I think it's going to be fluid. It has to be fluid. I think it's going to be a mixture of kind of what we saw when we didn't have a striker. We had to put Sarr up front against City there, and we kind of had a mixture of people taking 10 minutes here up front, 10 minutes there. Because Tokarski's going to kick the crap out of Son, right? Tokarski's an ox, right? So he's going to him and Brathwaite are going to be good partnership. Sorry, I think I got a rat run around or something. Oh my god, that was weird. Food front three. And Archie Gray in the midfield, man. It's gonna be nice to see Archie Gray in the midfield because Archie Gray is a generational talent, and to see generational talent in the position he's supposed to be in his most comfortable position, and now he's got 10, 20 caps in other positions under his belt. His baptism of fire wasn't even in the CDM role, and so now he's comfortable on the football pitch in the Premier League, playing at this level. Seeing him unleashed in his natural position, I hope it's gonna be wonderful. So I'm totally gonna go back on everything I said in the show about being apprehensive in a really tight game. I think we're gonna go and smash them 3-1. So
I love that.
Yeah. What do you say? First win at Goodison in 6, you said? First win in 6?
Yeah, well, we haven't won there in 6 years. Yeah, the last 5 games up there we've drawn. I think it's been, drawn 5, lost 1, something like that. We haven't won up there in 6 years, though, which is absolutely madness. So,
guys, would you make of this, right? For some, I don't know how true this is. On the BBC website, Spurs are saying that we're lining up 3-4-3. So we're going with a back three of Gray, Dragusin, Davies, and then Porro, Bergvall, Sarr, Spence, and then Kulusevski, Son, and Madison.
Look,
for those of you who said Madge isn't tactical flexible.
Do you know what? It could easily be 2 up top. You could go with Son and Kulu up top, drop Madison back into that midfield, drop Gray into the back line. The reality is, right now, we just do not know. Now, what I will caveat that by saying is Postecoglou is not known for switching to a back 3 or back 5.
Exactly.
Whatever way you want to paint it up. And I just wonder, has the inclusion of Ben Davies with Archie Gray pushing into midfield maybe confused a few people? Look, it very well could be, And if Postecoglou is doing that, I think the rumours that he's been told he needs to win against Everton probably become true because it's such a drastic switch up to what he's been trying to do. So look, the reality is we don't know. Let's sit back. Let's wait, 25 more minutes or that, not even just under an hour. I think we'll know for sure by looking at how that team takes up at the start of the pitch. But very interesting. Let's wait and see. But the reality is we just do not know. But if he does, like I said, it's a massive switch up. And I do think it stinks of a man under pressure. If you do that, we've got this from Dark Zone G says, hope Jan gets a chance to play today. Gray and Bergvall in the midfield. Do you know what? I'm not sure he is going to get a chance to play today, Dark Zone G. And look, I could very easily sit here and say he is, but if he didn't make the bench in the FA Cup game and didn't get minutes there, I struggle to see Postecoglou throwing him in a Premier League game where we really need 3 points. Now, on the other hand, if we can get a good victory today and we can get the job done nice and early and there's 15-20 minutes left at the end, then why not? But until then, I wouldn't say that debut is coming today, Dark Zone G. But look, I could be wrong. I'm not always right. And he says Bergvall will become homegrown, which is huge for us. Wow, I didn't know that, Dark Zone G. So that would be absolutely huge for us if that is the truth. Link me to the article. I think you've got my email, my man. Email me and link me to where you've seen this. I need to do a bit more investigation on that. And he also says, I hope we win today because I just finished attending my favorite K-pop group concert who I haven't seen in 5 years. I'm in a great mood now. Well, look.
Come on.
Big up.
They didn't say, that's the great thing about music, it can put you in a great mood or whatever mood you're in, you can find music to tailor to that mood. So absolutely fantastic. K-pop, it's it's gone mad over this side of the world all of a sudden as well in recent years, becoming a lot more popular over this side of the world, Dark Zone G. But look, I think we'll speak for everybody. We all need a victory today, every single one. I look around the Spurs community, I look around on, socials, and there's not one smile on anyone's face, not one bit of happiness coming out of everybody. And look, I completely get it. We're not winning games of football. We're all invested so heavily into this football club, it affects our mood. So we really need a win today just to alleviate some of the pressure, give us some confidence heading into the 2 Europa League games, Carabao Cup semi-final coming up, the FA Cup game coming up. We could really do with a couple of morale-boosting victories. Hopefully, it starts today. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you to the panel. Donovan also gets up early in Canada. Drew and the Dermatron, absolute legends. Really appreciate the support, guys. Very, very nice of you to continue to do this and give up your time to do this. I want to say a massive thank you to all you guys tuning in at home. Again, it's hard to do this if nobody's listening, so really appreciate all you guys, and also the way you get involved, the way you expand on the talking points and stuff like that. Thank you very much, guys. And then to the people who have gone the extra mile today, the likes of Jerome, big yourself up, buddy, Moondog, Jason G, Levy Towers, Dermatron, El Dante, Blaine Devlin, big up Blaine, and also Dark Sun G, guys. I really appreciate support. Like I said, none of these channels have any big wigs or media companies behind them, so support is vital. So really appreciate that, everybody. Very, very kind of you. Big up Stevie Fraser, big up Rooty Toot, Snow Cyper, Gary Bex, Sav Spurs, Swim Master, anyone who's here at the end, Akshegs, he thinks it's TikTok popular. Look, it's getting popular, that's for sure. And Blaine says, what do you guys think has been the resistance of Ange not to try Will Lancashire in games? I don't think he's had a minute since that Europa match, has he? And do you know what?
I think it was because of the red card.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost his head, and Ange doesn't think he can trust him.
Do you know what? I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Drew. I think, he put him out in that game, big environment, and yes, it was frustrating evening for Will Lancashire, but in a game of that,
I think it was the manner of the card, right? Because I think Will Lancashire actually forgot that he was on a yellow.
And he also got frustrated, right? The ball was
got really frustrated, and I just think he completely lost his head. But I think he completely forgotten that he was on a yellow. And I just think, when you're dealing with this game with these fine margins, you can't have any of that. So unfortunately, I think he's feeling the rough end of the stick on that one.
And you know what? I don't think it's a bad lesson for the kid to learn. Don't get me wrong. How long is Postecoglou going to keep putting him in there? At some point, you got to say, look, it's not like you've had a falling out. It's a sending off.
Exactly.
You let me down, but I'm going to give you another opportunity. I definitely agree with that. You can't keep him in the graveyard or in the prison cell for, the eternity while he's here. Absolutely spot on, and this is the thing that has to be when it comes to Postecoglou. Look, I can understand if he's had a row with a player who doesn't want to do what he's asking to do. I can understand maybe James Maddison, for instance, why he doesn't want to play him, why he doesn't want to trust him. But someone like Will Lancashire, where he's young, he's made a mistake, there's got to be a way to be able to come back from that. There has to be. But great question. Great question. But guys, we're out. I'll see you back here, on the hour, at 4:30 for the watch along. I really hope I can be a lot more energetic than what I was in that second half against Arsenal, because it's something me and Jack said straight away. It's like, that was probably our worst watch along ever. We just didn't know what to say in the second half. We're just being absolutely railroaded. I hope today is a better day. Guys, thank you very much. We'll see you back here soon. As always, come on, you Spurs. For now, in the Big Andrew Trust, that might change after 90 minutes. I'll let you know. But always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Still in 3 cups. Let's do this. Let's go.
Come on.
Come on for the 4 Ds. Woohoo.